Hello, everybody. A very good afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are. Hello again. Thank you for being here. Let's just have a little look. There are some people online, which is helpful. So thank you so much for joining. Hello to everybody, wherever you are in the world, in America, in the UK. Great having you here. Thank you for joining again on this, sunny, not that warm, but still very nice lunchtime in California, which is where I am at present. So thank you for joining. Let's just wait for a few more people to come on. I have this eye on my screen, so I can see the people who are, well, not everybody who's joining, but I can see that there are more and more people coming. So just give it another minute or two. Hello back to Spain. How wonderful. California. It's just amazing to have all these wonderful people here. And it's just so important to stay with what we are doing, to get the momentum, to keep the momentum, to keep the connection, and to bring that into our everyday life. When we look at what's happening in the world, I don't know. I just wake up to the news every single day. I've got various apps on my phone, so I'm looking at news all the time, and it's just so scary. And a lot of what's going on in this world is based on fear. But of course, it's not, well, it may be collective fear as well, but it's ultimately an individually experienced or perceived fear. So if we want to change something, if we want to change the world, as usual, we have to start with ourselves. Also, about this huge topic of fear, which suddenly popped into my mind when I was preparing for the show today. So this is the topic that we have to tackle, and it's a very important life determining or life changing subject. So a few more people. Oh, there's one lady from Chile. How amazing. Very warm welcome. And from the UK and from Portland, Oregon. So it's really all over, which is absolutely amazing. I'm just following what's coming through about the idea of fear. But it's so interesting. In a way, we all are fearful, even as babies. Babies are fearful. They cry because they are fearful. They need to be kept. They need to be hugged. They need to be held. And in a way, this is what we really need for the rest of our lives: to be shielded, to be sheltered, to be looked after, to feel connected, to feel loved, and to feel safe. And of course, this is not what's happening. It's often rather the opposite. We are going through these huge challenges, and every challenge adds more fear. Will I make it? And sometimes we don't. We work on a project, we work on an idea, we work on a relationship, we work on making more money, everything. And we see it's not working out the way we hoped. And then we are getting more and more fearful. When we have had difficult experiences in our lives, this is really building up. But sometimes we have had these experiences, or very often, in fact, in our childhood. Little difficult experiences that we didn't pay that much attention to at the time, or we just then moved on and grew up, but they are still within us. The time when we were left in the supermarket and we're looking for our mother, and she was nowhere to be seen, and there were all these other people looking at us, and of course this instigates fear. Sometimes it's one big life-changing experience, like my bankruptcy, for instance. So whenever it comes to money shortages, cash flow or so, I get into a huge panic because we just project from our past into the future. But all the things I'm talking about, and that is really quite interesting, and that came as the first thought when I was working on today's episode, is all these challenges, all our fears are three-dimensional. They have got to do with our physical existence. Unless deep inside we wonder whether we are really good enough in what we are doing. And if someone like us can, well, have a good start into the afterlife, after death. This is how this idea of heaven and hell came about. We experience times of hell in this present moment, in our incarnation, and we think, okay, some people are so nasty, they deserve hell, and then we build this idea that there's hell somewhere in another dimension, and this idea of heaven and hell was created. And with this, of course, the idea was created, am I then really good? Do I qualify for heaven, or am I on a certain way to hell? Of course, as spiritual people, we know that there is no hell. There are hellish experiences here. But the universe, the eternal universe, there is no hell. There is no eternal condemnation, or whatever you call it, eternal, being eternally lost, purgatory, or all these kind of words. It's just not there. It is, again, our projection, and we have fear. So when we connect to Reiki, when we feel this connection, we feel the peace, we feel the love. We know that we are accepted, that we are part of the universe, and that everything that happens here is simply an experience. So we may have even this existential fear somewhere deeply within us, but using Reiki, we can, well, we live with the daily reassurance that we are eternal beings. We are souls in the body, and therefore we cannot end up in hell because there is no hell. So we are afraid ultimately of the hellish experiences here, but not beyond that. And just to experience that for a moment, let's just start by connecting to Reiki and just feeling this eternal connection. So let's just bring our hands together for a moment. Connect to Reiki. Place your hands on your chest or your heart chakra or your heart, and just let it flow for a moment. Feel the confirmation that there is love, there is healing, there is support out there, and we can at any given moment connect to it, and we can live in this awareness. And then just bring your hands back together, take a moment to thank Reiki, and come back into the here and now. So this is what we have at our fingertips all the time. So we have help, we have this connection. Why are we still so afraid? Because we have chosen a three-dimensional experience with a beginning and an end. And even that creates fear already, the end. One day we'll die. Some people die sooner. So many people wish for a very, very, very long life. So we are afraid of something that at some stage will happen to us and to people around us, but we let that filter into the present moment. I really feel that at the core of all fear is the fear of dying. When we connect to Reiki, we know that we're eternal beings. And that for me is possibly the most important aspect of Reiki. This experiential realization, the confirmation that we are eternal beings, that we are connected, that we will not die when death is coming. We will simply transition into another energetic level, into just being pure energy and without the bodily restrictions. But for the time being, of course, we have the bodily restrictions, and with that come all the challenges of illnesses, the challenges of not being good enough, then being completely stressed, and so on. So we have these challenges, and they make us fearful. What can we do to combat that fear? For me, the first thing is to give Reiki to yourself every single day, to just live with Reiki and experience the connection again and again and again. If you are fearful, you can even ask Reiki to help you to deal with your fear. Is it possible to be completely without fear? I don't know. I honestly don't know. So I live with fear. For me, to be afraid of things is normal, because fear also is helpful. I had this experience recently from the Hollywood Hills in an Uber coming down. The Uber was crossing Sunset Boulevard, and there were some cars in the distance. It was all very safe. And suddenly, at something like 120 miles per hour or something like that, I don't know, Ferrari or Lamborghini or something like that was speeding along and missed us by probably 2 car lengths or so. It was so scary. The poor Uber driver was completely scared and shaken afterwards, and so was I. So fear is a good thing because it helps us to be careful, to take care. And when an idiot in a sports car that you can never drive at full speed, and certainly not on Sunset Boulevard, drives at full speed, then there is a point where we just have to trust that this is not happening for us. But to be very careful, to look left and right. I don't know if you see this left and right here, but to look, to make sure we are careful in traffic is very important. To be careful with what we eat, how we look after our body, how we prepare for things, how we put effort into something. All this is very important. And if we are afraid the outcome may not be good enough, maybe this challenges us and spurs us to create an even better idea, to work even harder, and to make sure that there is a good outcome. So in this way, fear can be helpful because it makes sure that we are aware there are potential dangers. Better be careful. But of course, fear can also hold us back. We don't take risks, and we are so afraid of going in the wrong direction that we don't go into any direction whatsoever. Is that a helicopter? I think it is. So, and that is really interesting. So often we are held back. And I have experienced that so many times in my life. Can I really do that? Do I want to do that? Is technology working? I held on to doing something on YouTube myself for such a long time because quite simply, I felt I couldn't handle it. I didn't know all the technology. And suddenly I can see myself. I'm here with 2 lights looking into the camera of my laptop, and it works. So we need to say, okay, am I ruled by fear or can I step beyond? Do I have help? Well, sometimes we need help from other people, but there's so much we can do ourselves, so much more than we give ourselves credit for. And of course, especially when we just ask Reiki for help. When we ask Reiki to just be there, we feel the connection and then we do something. If you're afraid your cooking skills are not very good, and just looking the direction of my kitchen, of course, you don't know that that's where the kitchen is. And you think, oh, I'm never going to pull it off. I don't know how to cook. Then just ask Reiki to help. Just put something together, follow a recipe, and see how it works out. Learning by doing, getting beyond our comfort zone and doing something despite the fact that we have fear. And the fear is getting less and less. But sometimes there are times when we just are so overwhelmed and don't know how to deal with this. Just everything coming together at once, and we just don't know what to do anymore. There are a few things to deal with that and how Reiki can help. Most of the fear comes from the unknown. But once we see a situation more clearly, we can deal with this in a much better way. So we can ask Reiki to help us to see a situation from the bird's perspective, just floating above and seeing it and understanding it from a bigger perspective, from a different perspective, and see that often one situation has lots of individual elements. And once we go from one element to the next, tackling one at a time, rather than being overwhelmed by the monstrosity of the overall task, we can do it. And I find that Reiki can really help a great deal with this. So this is what I would like to invite you at the moment, to think of a situation you are in, or a situation that is coming up that you are afraid of. It can be any situation. Just think of the situation for a moment and then bring your hands together and connect to Reiki. Just close your eyes, bring your hands in front of your heart chakra and feel the connection. And now ask Reiki to help you to see this problem from a different perspective, to help you understand it and see it from a bird's perspective, and to get some ideas how to move out of the situation. And then slowly move up to your third eye. Just bring your hands up and see what comes into your mind. And then slowly move your hands back. Take a moment to thank Reiki and come back into the here and now. So I don't know what came into your mind. I took some time because lots of things came into my mind. And you can do this exercise from time to time and then look at the kind of different aspects of the situation. Ultimately, sometimes there is not much we can do. We are in a situation, it is challenging, it's difficult, we are afraid of, or we are afraid of what happens in the future. And there is nothing that comes to our mind that we can actually do about it. And if we can't do something about it, then maybe we shouldn't. Just give it to the universe. Connect to Reiki and say, thank you, Reiki, for resolving this situation. And just feel this resonating deeply inside of you. You have help. You have guidance. Thank you, Reiki, for resolving this situation. Just feel it. You may even get an idea of the outcome, or you simply let go. Thank you, Reiki, for resolving this situation. So, moving on and just passing it on. We are connected. We are part of this universe. So, if we feel we can't do it, then, well, obviously, the universe can. So, that's all we can do. We are supposed to have experiences. Life has challenges. If it didn't, the question is whether there would be any sense in life. So we want to experience things, and we want to experience things in this limitation that we have in a physical body with our intellectual abilities, our memories, everything. I mean, just imagine we were all Einstein, we were all Olympic sports people, we were everything. That'd be boring, I suppose. So the idea is to experience parts, but also realize that we are still connected to everything. And once we realize and live in this awareness, we are spiritual beings. And to make this realization every single day, I find that life really gets much easier. It's very interesting that Mikao Usui put these two very harsh ideas at the beginning of the 5 Reiki principles. Just for today, do not be angry. Just for today, do not worry. And he did that because anger and worry keeps us away from the spiritual person we really are. When we are consumed with fear, often this then translates into anger. We are not connected. It is impossible to feel completely connected and filled with fear. So he put that at the beginning of the Reiki principles just to make us aware that this is a huge blockage to the healing powers that are in the universe, to Reiki, to moving on with our life path and realizing that it is such a special life path, that we are here for a reason and that we can fulfill the mission we have set out. Whether it's looking after our family, whether it's doing a great job, whether it's changing the world, whether it is creating new ideas, whether it is writing, whether it's music, whether it's bringing love and harmony to people, so many things. But can we do that out of fear? So I think when we do positive things, it also takes us a step out of this fear. And of course, realizing that we have a lot of wonderful things. Gratitude, thanking the universe, looking around, taking stock of what we have and where we are, and really living in this gratitude. All this can combat fear. What I sometimes do when I'm just too worried, too overwhelmed, I don't quite know what to do. I've given it to the universe. I don't quite feel the connection because I blocked myself so much. Then I find it's a really interesting tool to repeat the Reiki principle. Just for today, do not worry. I once did that. It was years ago. It was at the time of my bankruptcy. I just really didn't know what to do, and it was a while after, but there was still the aftermath. And I was sitting there, and I was paralyzed. I couldn't move on anymore. I didn't know what to do next, and there were so many problems I had, from my car to financial problems to all sorts of things. So I just sat there, closed my eyes, and repeated for something like 10 minutes, just for today, do not worry, do not worry, do not worry. And at some stage, I felt as if the worries lifted, as if it kind of did a magic trick. And I could see the problems in the individual facets rather than just as one big impenetrable mass of problems. And I got this idea to leave one thing out, to work on one problem first, to not worry about the next thing. And step by step, I was kind of disentangling it. And I found it was an automatic process just by repeating the Reiki principles. Just for today, do not worry. Worry creates incredible problems. When we meet somebody, we can say, oh, that person looks a bit strange. And some people do, especially in Los Angeles. Just joking. Anyway, but really, sometimes when I walk around here and still everything is so new to me, then I think, okay, that's an interesting person. So I can approach that person with fear. They are weird. They are different. How will they react if I ask them? If I ask for the way? If I ask for whatever? If I stand next to them, will they say something to me? How will I feel? So I can approach them with fear, or I can approach them with love and smile. Say something like amazing outfit, or, well, it's very easy to say, isn't it a beautiful day? Because most days are beautiful in Southern California. So that's a way to break the ice and to do something and to go beyond the fear, beyond our comfort zone. Just imagine we would do that with different traditions, different cultures. Hi, that's fascinating what you're doing. What is that? Can you tell me more? With openness and not fear. If we did that, not just on an individual level, but on a societal level between different groups, if we did that on an international level, of course, we are afraid of the army of the other country. But the army is made of individual people with families, with aspirations, with hopes, with ideas, with creativity. They're souls. And we are afraid. So if we move beyond that fear and come with love, with understanding, then the world would be such a different place. The amazing book, The Course in Miracles, somewhere says in there are basically only two emotions we ultimately have as human beings: love and fear. And it is a daily decision. It's a constant decision that we need to make. Do I approach whatever is put my way from the angle of love or from the angle of fear? So It's up to us. And Reiki gives us so many tools to return to the love that we have inside, and the connection we have, and move beyond fear. Let's just take a little moment to just let this sink in. So I would like you to invite you to just bring your hands together once more and connect to Reiki, and just thank the universe for helping you to move beyond your fear. Just say, thank you, Reiki. Thank you, universe, to allow me to move beyond my fears and to anchor myself in love. And once more, let this just resonate in your body, in your energy field, in your entire being. And then just take a moment once more to thank Reiki and come back into the here and now. So I think this is where we were supposed to go today. And that was very interesting. So I'm just following this intuition with the topics, but also with the approaches. There are so many approaches to deal with fear. There are so many exercises we can do with Reiki. We can all be very creative. So the question is, what is right now for us? And I tend to trust that things just come. So I'm not fearful for once when it comes to the YouTube show, because I just know that we are guided through the show. There is a reason for us coming together, looking at this topic, connecting with each other. And my apologies for last week when I kind of tried a different angle, and apparently I looked a bit like that, and everybody said, why don't you look at us? So this time I tried to look at everybody, and I hope that works. And I could really, it's really interesting. I could feel the connection. And by doing so, I felt the flow was much freer. So thank you for listening, for joining, for your wonderful comments. And let's now support each other on our journey that so often is filled with fear, on all these challenges that we are exposed to, whether it's physical, mental, we don't understand things, emotional, whatever it is, or very likely a combination of everything, whether it's financial, circumstantial, anything. Let Reiki help you with this. And let's all now join together once more in a Reiki share that everybody can take care of, can take part of, but also everybody who is joining at a later stage. And it's just so amazing. I get this feedback again and again and again, that people watch a replay and then they are still part of the Reiki share. They feel the connection. And of course, there is no time. There is no space. It is a creation. It is ultimately an illusion. It is for experience only. And part of this experience is fear. But once we have experiences like the Reiki share, where we join 2 days later and we can feel everybody, then we suddenly realize, okay, if this is possible, everything is possible. And this is what, for me, it makes Reiki so incredible, this tangible experience of quantum physics, of the idea that everything is connected, that time and space ultimately is there for experience only. But when we go beyond that, there's only connection, love, oneness, an incredible system of the universe. And this is what we can experience. And of course, when we get so connected that we feel Reiki And then we connect to somebody else and pass Reiki on. Then we are right in the middle of this beautiful web of healing, harmony, connection, truth. And that's what we are going to do right now. So when you're ready, just bring your hands together in Gasho. Just bring the hands together once more and just connect or reconnect to Reiki. Just feel the connection. And then connect with everybody on this Reiki share. Either you just set your intention to connect with everybody, or if you've learned the connection or distance symbol, you can draw that and utilize that to deepen the connection. And then just relax. Just feel the connection with everybody. Keep your eyes closed, lean back, and just let Reiki flow through you to everybody else and through everybody else to you. Let Reiki help you to go beyond your fears, to step into love, to step into your power. Just feel the help and the guidance and the healing. You may just want to remind yourselves that there are many, many people at this moment sending Reiki to you. And then you can slowly come back into the here and now. Just bring your hands together once more. Thank Reiki. When you're ready, open your eyes again. What a powerful session. That was absolutely amazing. So, hopefully, now for, well, the rest of the day, next few days, there'll be less fear, more strength, more calm and peace. And whenever there is a problem, whenever there's a challenge, just give it to Reiki. Just feel the connection, feel the love, feel the power of Reiki, and things will improve. So thank you so, so much for joining once more. It's been a really powerful, beautiful session. I so, so enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Tuesday, same time. Just looking at some of the lovely people who comment and say thank you. So that's just so, so nice. So thank you very much uh, for joining, for being here. And there's a lot more coming up that I'm working on. So next week I should be able to present some more. And I'm very, very excited about what's coming ahead. All I now need to do is to look once more and find the button to bring this technically to an end. But of course, the connection carries on, the community carries on, and we have Reiki wherever we are at our fingertips.